Yeah. Shit feels great. You can't stop me. It's Printmatic. Yeah. I like to get inside the car and drive along open roads to open up my mind. Watch the sun rise, reflect on life. Wishing that the gas prices wasn't so high. The lust of the dollar make you holler or cry. But even in the winter, the birds still fly. Sometimes success is deceiving to the eye. Cause people say they rich when they just getting by. Television make you think it's something you can buy. But before you get the truth, you gotta sort through the lies. Choose your own path and walk on by. The only true failure is if you don't try. I don't respect people who don't respect time. Sitting on their hands while the clock tick by. Consider this a word to the wise. If you love what you do, then it ain't really your grind. I'm talking about hard work. I'm talking about patience. It's a celebration of your journey, even when you don't know your final destination. I'm talking about hard times. I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears. Recognize that the reason that you here is only cause you figured out a way to persevere.
Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon, good day. This isn't going to be a very long video. Excuse me. Well, not too long. But I came across something today that basically I couldn't quite believe it when I heard it because it was just so spot on. Absolutely spot on. Perfectly described exactly what's going on today. And I came across it thanks to our friend, Quite Frankly. Quite Frankly is bloody. I really like his stuff. Actually, I like his work, and I'm really grateful to him for bringing this to my attention. Just JP, how you doing? Brian Evans, Reverend Hull, how you doing, guys? So it's discussing this book that you can't you could see it before I came in. What's it called? Ponerology. The politics of ponerology. So it's Ponerology and Pathocracy. I'd never actually heard of them before. I'd never heard of them before until today. This guy, Andrew Lobaczewski, probably completely butchered that name, but he wrote this book. Now, what I'm going to read, I'm cheating. I have tried to find this where Quite Frankly is reading this, where he's taking this from a blog or something, and all I could find was the original book, which I do want to get my hands on, except it's like €60, and it would take too long to sit here and go through the whole book. What Quite Frankly does is well, basically he's reading this, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause it on where Quite Frankly was, because I'll give you the link to Quite Frankly's video, and you can go and watch him say exactly the same things. But I've looked for this piece of work. I don't know if this is actually him that's wrote this or who it is, but I'm going to cheat and I'm going to read this, and we're going to sit here and talk about it. So in the book, Lobaczewski, whatever his name is, hypothesizes that humanity is made up of two groups, the normals and the pathological. The latter have distinct biological differences from the former. They were either born with them or developed them later in life due to trauma, brain damage, or early contact with other pathological people. The biological differences are so extreme that the pathological are actually identified as a subspecies of humanity, dubbed para-Homo sapiens. The pathological seem to be aware of these differences, though they ultimately consider themselves not a subspecies, but almost an entirely separate species from normals, and a far superior species at that. I'm just going to say it now. If you're pathological, if you're one of these people, you're about as superior as the shit I took this morning. You're not superior to me or anybody else. You're an inferior sack of shit if you're a pathological individual like this. But anyway, this superiority complex, combined with a lack of empathy, leads the pathological to seek power over the normals using manipulation tactics termed paralogisms, particular manners of twisting logic to falsely make the illogical appear logical and vice versa. Let's talk about that for a second, shall we? I don't think that, quite frankly, made this example. Basically, let's talk about the last 2 years. Let's talk about people that say that in order for a jab to work, everybody's got to have it. In order for a back pain to be effective, everyone's got to have it. Because if everybody hasn't had it, then the people who have had it are at risk. The people that have had the back pain are at risk. If the unvaccinated don't get their jab. That is a paralogism. Twisting logic to falsely make the illogical appear logical and vice versa. That's people saying, yeah, man, yeah, we need to lock down. We need to lock down. We need curfews. We need lockdowns, and we need everybody to wear a mask. We need everybody to cover their face and socially distance and all of that. But it's okay if you're upstairs in a building. You don't have to wear a mask if you're upstairs in a building. And curfews, well, at 10 o'clock at night, obviously the thing that we're all worried about becomes even more virulent after 10 o'clock at night. So therefore we have to have lockdowns to lock everybody down from, to curfew people from 10 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning, or, whatever the curfews were here. We had about 3 or 4 different curfews here. They kept changing them. Every 5 minutes, they were changing them. It was at 9 o'clock, then it was 11 o'clock, then 10 o'clock, then 12 o'clock, then back to 10 o'clock, then 11 o'clock, then 12 o'clock. That's paralogism. Paramoralism, specific methods of twisting morality to falsely portray the unethical as ethical and vice versa. I'm going to use the same example as quite frankly does in his discussion on this, and that is BLM, Antifa. BLM and Antifa. End of fucking story. Don't need any more examples than that. That's paramoralism. The health of a society at any point is profoundly influenced by the current state of this seemingly endless power struggle between its normal and pathological members. At any given time, the system's state is determined by how successful or unsuccessful it is at resisting the pathological's myriad methods of attempting to seize control and translate their us versus them mentality from malevolent obsession into harsh reality. Let's have a little think about that, shall we? Hey? let's have a little think about that. God, the last 2 years. I mean, the last 2 years. Do you think that's anybody see anything they recognize? Anybody hearing anything that they recognize? The book then compares the human immune system to society at large. In a weakened immune system, small threats can take root and flourish into a dangerous cancer or infection that then further erodes the body's inability to resist. In society, mass denial and misunderstanding of the true nature of the pathological can contribute to increasing the number of normals who are, I can't read that, hijackable by the pathological, or more commonly, are simply unmotivated or unable to resist them. Does that seem familiar to anybody right now? I'll get this next bit out. The book then compares the human immune system to society at large. In a weakened immune system, small threats can take root and flourish into a dangerous cancer. Oh, no, hang on, I said that. After gaining a foothold in a weakened society, the pathological, now operating within a more conducive environment, develop particular relationships amongst themselves and hijackable normals. These relationships then form the basis for the development of certain kinds of pathological groups. Can anybody think of pathological groups that are existing right now? Later, the group may use ideology or ideology, as I like to refer to it, concerning their fucking ideas, idiotology, pure idiotology, or religion as a Trojan horse to convince the wider public that it has benevolent motivations and fool it into ceding the group greater power. Thus, ultimately, enormous events can be carried out by the pathological impostors waving the banners of the most benevolent sounding doctrines, and the public, focusing more on words than deeds, can be deceived into believing that that group is benevolent. Now, I can't read the rest of this because it doesn't. He. Oh, yes, we can. Here we go. Eventually, a tipping point is reached at which the severely pathological are viewed within the system as impressive, respectable figures. Joe Biden, Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Justin Trudeau, Macron, Jacinda Ardern, Scott Morrison. Shall I go on? The pathological, no, hang on. Eventually, a tipping point is reached at which the severely pathological were viewed within the system as impressive, respectable figures, whilst normals are viewed with contempt. The pathological may forcefully defend against threats to this perception through actual censorship of books and other communications. Actual censorship of books and other communications to defend against the threats of the perception of them being pathological. Interesting. They may further reinforce it by exerting control over education systems. Wow, really? Exercising censorship to rigidly determine which material can and cannot be taught, or designating who can and cannot participate in teaching. That is our society. We live in a pathocracy. We are currently existing in a pathocracy. Go back to the chat. I'll get rid of that. Put the treehouse back up there. All right, comes to the chat room. Brian, how you doing? Said hello, JP, Reverend Hull. Gummy Bear APB, how you doing? Good to see you. Three Fingers, good to see you, mate. How you doing, babe? Anyone want to come on? Oh, you're listening from the shower. Okay, let me know when you've got some clothes on, and if you want to come on and have a chat. There's the link to, quite frankly's video on it. He talks about a lot of other stuff as well, and this is actually part 2. He's been looking into this for a couple of videos. This is part 2 of it, and wow, I have never heard a better description of exactly what's going on now. If I couldn't possibly have put it into better words, because I don't. Well, yeah, I just couldn't have put it into better words, man. I probably wouldn't have been able to describe it like that. That was perfect. That's exactly what's going on. We live in a pathocracy. All of the leaders are pathological, narcissistic. They're sociopaths, they're psychopaths. They are malevolent, nasty, evil, manipulative sacks of shit. And they are portraying themselves as honorable, benevolent people. They have the audacity to refer to themselves as benevolent and honorable. The honourable sir, the honourable gentleman, the honourable madam, in their little ivory towers, in their fucking corpuses, in their in their chambers, and their fucking in their parliament, and all, and their congress, and fucking everywhere where they are, calling each other honourable. There's nothing honourable about them. Absolutely nothing. Not one single honourable thing about one of them. Not one of them. They don't understand the meaning of honour. Honour is a foreign word. It doesn't belong in their dictionary. Honourable does not belong in their vocabulary unless they are referring to a normal. Normals are honourable. Normal people like you and, all right, I'm not really normal, but I'm not pathological. I'm maybe a bit neurotic and a little bit paranoid and possibly mild schizophrenia, but I'm not pathological, sociopathic, psychopathic. I'm not. I'm sure people have said that I'm narcissistic, but normally it's the most narcissistic people that make those accusations, because cattle calling pot black and all that. No one's flower. How you doing? Good to see you. So there you go, JP. It's a perfect definition of all government. Yep. It's been going on for long enough now that they have actually managed to slime and creep and manipulate and coerce their way to the top. And they're all in the top. And now they're sat up there in their ivory towers, projecting their own pathology onto us, accusing us of their crimes, restricting us, stealing blatantly stealing from us our blood, sweat, and tears to fatten their own wallets, to fatten their own guts, to fatten their own egos. And normal people, normals, as Lobaczewski or whatever his name is puts them, we're all sat here going, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on, man? And you've got the LGBTQ, BLM, Antifa, and all the rest of them. I can't think of any others, but I know there are some. All the rest of them, those are those sociopathic, psychopathic groups created by the pathocracy. Sorry, just reading the comments. We're so divided now that there's only one recourse left. Well, two, but that would not be good. Those people are not people, as they have no clue what they're doing is wrong. Technically, in legal terms, they are people. Legally, they are persons. Sorry, not people, persons. Yes, Reverend Hull, thank you very much. 15 years ago, he wrote it. 15 years ago. Promises a new meat and all the kids. Yeah. Yeah. All while making it seem like the thing to do. Yeah. Like it's a good thing. And that we're wrong. We're wrong for pointing out their hypocrisy, their lies, their manipulation and coercement. We're wrong. We're the they're the ones that we're treated the way that they should be treated. We live in a pathocracy. The people, every single one of them, and every one of them climbing and scrambling to take over as well. Not just the ones that are at the top. All of those little fucking shits that are snapping at their heels to get to the top. Every single politician that is alive, every single government official that is alive, every single person in authority right now, and anybody trying to get themselves into a position of authority over others. It takes a very, very special kind of cunt to want to climb to the top and basically gain power to then exert their own ideology onto others, and to restrict and basically oppress the rest of us. The peasants are revolting. They don't smell too good. Yeah, the revolution is another. You have to be careful with it, don't you? We need to revolt the system. We need to put a new burst of energy into it that expels the poison that is there. I've just done a video, actually. I've just made a let me find it. Hang on. Apologies if you've in the last couple of hours watched it. But I've just made this video Infections are really nasty, man. Oh, if you get a wound that gets infected, it is really serious shit. You need to sort it out, because if you don't, the infection can spread through your body under the skin and the deeper tissues and cause sepsis, which is fatal, potentially fatal. If you don't sort out an infection, it will kill you. That's what we're dealing with right now. An infection, a serious, serious infection that is, well, it needs to be done. It needs to be removed. The infection needs to be removed. It needs to be purged from the system. Gummy bear, we don't live on a planet, bro. This isn't a planet. This is a immovable, unmoving, observably flat realm. It's not a planet. We're not stood on the back of a rock that's spinning. Because it's those arseholes, it's those same arseholes that have tried to convince everybody that that's what we are, that we're an accident stuck on a rock, spinning around 1,000 miles an hour, traveling through a vacuum of space. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's pretty gross. I tell you, the videos that I went through finding examples of infection, like this person had their toe amputated, but they'd walked around on it too much and it got infected, and so they went in. The guy stuck like a knitting needle into it, and then squeezing all the pus out. And man, it was awesome. I love it. Who enjoys picking spots? Who enjoys squeezing spots, especially the ones that are like really deep and really, you know, you squeeze it, it's really painful, and then crack, and it squirts out with a little bit of blood and pus. I love it. I love it. Ah, Playnet, yes, mate. I'll give you that, Playnet. Richie, the one you did where you said, whoever keeps their cool through this will be the victor. Wise words are never more taken to heart. Hear that? Yes. Thank you, mate. Thank you. And here I am getting angry. I'm getting angry about these assholes, about what's everything that's going on, everything they're doing. Get yourself dressed. Come on and have a chat about the Vanderbilts. Stop. Was that the where did I have to stop? Was that this describing the pussy toe? Yes, mate. Dimer. Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating when you can see exactly who the bad apples are and exactly what they're doing, and you know exactly what should be done, what really should be done. Now, you know, I would say live and let live, but they are a subspecies. Pathological people, sociopaths and psychopaths are a fucking subspecies. They're not the same as us. They are less than. We say, oh, you know, nobody's better than anybody else and we're all equal. No, I'm sorry. No, we're not all equal. And some of us are better than others. Those that fall into that category are a subspecies. They're subhuman. They're not fucking, they're not nice. They're not good. They're not decent. They need to be reset, completely reset. And the trouble is with psychopaths, you can't reset a psychopath. So what you do is you stick it in a fucking hole in the ground, you cover it up and you feed it, you know, twice a day and you leave it. You leave it buried at the bottom of a very big fucking hole. Rachel, yes, Anderson Cooper Vanderbilt, exactly. Morning, or rather, grand rising. Good day. Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I don't recognise your name. I don't know if you. I do apologise if we've met before. Anderson CIA wannabe. He's not a CIA wannabe. He is a CIA operative. He was employed by the CIA to infiltrate CNN. Now, I think that's, if you were allowed access to the relevant documents, that would be categorically provable. You would be proud. Just going through the comments. Sorry, I've got this. I've got it's a Magic Mouse, an Apple Magic Mouse thing. So you can. It's like a touch screen. It's got touch screen technology in the mouse, but it's a real pain in the ass because you have to pinch it on the sides and not touch the top at all, because otherwise it moves around all over the place. Maybe this is why there were so many institutions. Actually, the institutions weren't for them, though. No, I think, Gumby Bear, I think all the institutions were for you and me. They were for people like you and me. The ones that could recognize the pathological behavior, who refused to, those of us that refused to toe the line with the bullshit narrative and kept asserting that a narrative was bullshit, they were locked up. And these sociopathic, psychopathic, narcissistic freaks, this subspecies that is currently in positions of power all over the earth, they put us in prison. They locked us up, saying that we're all crazy, and that's I can see that that's where it's going to go. With what's going on, and basically anybody that doesn't toe the line, they'll say that we're either mad or we're criminal. It's frustrating, but because I've been lied to and accepted it and had to live the lie, I'm so pissed. I want not just answers, but justice. What a fucked up thing to do. And think it's they're like, yes, mate. Yes, totally with you, 100%. It's a violation. We have all been violated. We have all had our brains raped by these people. We are constantly being raped by these people every day, mentally and emotionally raped by them. So you didn't like the network? I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. Yeah, I like that. Oh God, what film's that from? It's not from 1984, is it? What film is that from? Singe Man, how you doing? Good to see you. First time. Thanks for the welcome, Richie. No problem at all, Rachel. You'll find yourself amongst friends here. Everybody, my chat room is always got really cool, intelligent, insightful people in it. And I look at other chat rooms like, you know, like Martin's and Cam's and Bernie's, and I'm just really grateful that although I don't have as many people in my chat room as those guys do, the people are, I mean, it's all pretty much the same group of people, but that's why my chat room's always cool. And there's always got nice people in it. Drug us up and keep us quiet. Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, the trouble is, a lot of us, I did it myself, right? I've had a number of extremely traumatic things happen to me in my life, and as a result, I took the easy option of escapism through drugs, because the alternative for me was to exit this life. I'd either exit this life because I could not take it anymore, or I'd exit this reality through the use of drugs, ecstasy, cocaine. I'm not going to include marijuana. I mean, marijuana is a tool, but I wouldn't put it in the same category as ecstasy and cocaine and acid. And I didn't smoke crack. I didn't do crystal meth. I didn't do heroin, but the other recreational drugs I did enjoy. And I mean, I'd still do mushrooms and stuff, and I still smoke weed. But yeah, drugging us up. I mean, it's not just the illegal drugs, though, is it? How many people are on prescribed medication? How many people in my chat room right now are on prescribed medication? Press 1 if you are currently on prescribed medication. The definition of paranoid is the ability to link events that seemingly have no linkage. Yeah. And what is it they say? Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not talking about you. Mama. It's always healthy to have a little bit of paranoia, because otherwise you're just complacent. You're a complacent fool if you don't have a little bit of paranoia. Maybe not. You shouldn't have paranoia about people you love, and you know, it's not healthy to be a little bit paranoid in a otherwise healthy relationship. That's ridiculous. It's the one place you shouldn't be paranoid. But in the outside world, when you go out into the world and mix with the other creatures that are out there, it's healthy to be a little bit paranoid. Latest NHS news: builds our mental health wings. At least super prisons been built too. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Oh, it was actually the film The Network, was it? I've only seen that clip, Rev. So, son of a bitch. Yeah. The thing is, though, right? As much as we love it, and as much as we can identify with it and relate to it, as I said in a recent video, and Gummy Bear reminded me, I've said that the whole point of this game that we're playing is to not, under any circumstances, lose your cool. Do not get mad as hell. Do not get angry. Anger clouds your judgment. If you get angry, it will cloud your judgment. Anger is a useful tool, but you shouldn't indulge in it. It's the anger is the ignition that you need. You know, it's a bit of fire. We all need a bit of fire. But it's not healthy. It's not good to really indulge in it. And like, be mad as hell. Absolutely be mad as hell. But try not to express that anger as anger, you know, not like that, because then what you're doing is if I give an example, I had a friend here, well, actually a couple of friends, both had the same issue. Really pissed off with the cards that life had dealt them and the things that kept happening, and they'd get really angry, and I'd see them, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you never guess what happened today." Well, and then they'd recount what had happened and get really angry while doing it. And I know that it's not me that they're angry with. I know that. I know they're not angry with me, but it doesn't matter, because I still feel this. I'm still feeling those stabs of anger, and what would always end up happening is I'd get angry, but I wouldn't be angry with. So I wouldn't really know what I was angry at. Like, I'd be angry about the situation. I'd be angry with the people that had caused the pain to my friend. But I'd also be angry with my friend, in a way, because it's like, whoa, don't scream and shout at me. I'm not the one that did it. You don't need to scream and shout it to me. You're just reliving all that anger when you do that. You're reliving the moment. And that's what we've got to stop doing. That we've really got to stop doing that. It's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to constantly express that anger. And that's something that I'm learning. I'm not very good at it. I get angry, and when I get angry, I raise my voice. My voice just naturally raises. When I get passionate, my voice raises, and people say, "Why are you shouting? Stop shouting! Hey, why are you shouting?" And it's like, you think I'm shouting? You think this is shouting? You think this is shouting, do you? Okay, then, right. Let me fucking show you what shouting is. I'm not even nearly shouting. I just raise my voice a little bit and I'm accused of shouting. I'll fucking show you what shouting is. Doesn't help. Doesn't help anybody. Doesn't help me. Helps me a little bit. Express, get it off my chest. And it's good to do that. It's good to get things off your chest. It's good, I guess. All right, anger. Maybe it's okay to express anger, but you have to be careful when and where you do it. You have to be really careful when and where you do it. We're all crazy now. Yeah. All right. That'll be the. Is that the video, Rev? The network. Only kids. Okay, kids, back to the pop patch. No worries. All right, Gumby Bear. Have a good one. Andrea, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Three fingers. You know, like this. That's where you found me, from Martin Camp and Burn Eye. Cool. Good stuff. Well, then you probably recognize, you should maybe recognize at least one or two of the names in here. Brian Evans, he's always over there. Three Fingers, Andrea, Gummy Bear. There are all these guys are all they're all in those chats as well. So hopefully you feel at home. Let's go through these comments. PTSD, same. Had a breakdown after a few crashes. Bad luck. PTSD is it's a horrible thing. It comes in different forms. I had PTSD. I had PTSD after I was attacked when I was 19. I had my skull fractured from ear to ear. And PTSD after that. And then my car accident in 2000. Obviously, that caused PTSD. Just have happy stuff. That's good. Do you know what? I can't remember what I said. Oh yes, that was it. Who's on prescription medications? Anybody on prescription medications? Press 1. So Andrea, Reverend, Just JP, Rachel, Brian. Where's it? Three Fingers, no farmer. Good man. Good man. So you got a cupboard full. Yeah. Buprenorphine, naloxone, prednisone, tizanidine, and vitamins. The buprenorphine, that sounds like a painkiller. Anti-inflammatory painkiller, that sounds like. One, two, three. What's that? 6 different prescription drugs. Rachel. I was on heavy medication after my car accident, and for about 10 years, I was addicted to opiates. As a result, I went through a variety of different antidepressants, antipsychotics. Not because I'm psychotic, because they didn't want to prescribe me diazepam, Valium. They didn't want to prescribe me a tranquilizer, Xanax or Valium. They wouldn't do that. They refused to do that. They said, "Oh no, this antipsychotic would be much better for you." When I'd said to them, "I just need a tranquilizer. I need something to basically tranquilize me," because at the time I was feeling extremely suicidal and not psychotic, suicidal. So they prescribed me, the doctor prescribes me these, this is the family doctor, prescribes me antipsychotics, and 2 days later I'm stood there in the kitchen with a knife at my wrist, ready to cut my wrists. After 2 days previously saying to the doctor, "I'm getting really scared actually now. I really think if you don't do something or give me something to stop me feeling like this, I'm gonna hurt myself, and I just need to be tranquilized. I just want to take something that knocks me out. You know, it makes me sedated. And the answer was to give me antipsychotics that made me probably 50 times more suicidal. Here you go. It's in Signal. Link is in Signal. Actually, do you know what? I'll put the link in the chat. Let me get more than one person in. It says it can have up to 10 people. I thought it was only 6, but it says 10. Anger puts you in those places where we won't get out of. Yes, exactly. See, anger makes you do things that you regret. It's made me do things that I've seriously regretted afterwards, saying things that should never have been said. Particularly, you know, when you say something in anger to somebody that you're friends with, or you love, you know, you're in a relationship. Basically, anybody that you're in a relationship with, doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, just a relationship, a friendship, whatever. You say things in anger to them that, you know, you don't really mean. You might mean it at the time, but you don't really mean it, and afterwards you feel like an absolute asshole. But unfortunately, it's been said. You can't unsay what's been said. I'm not coming on camera, Em. So if you want to switch yours off, if you don't mind going on camera on your own, but I don't want to be on camera. You're not fussed? Yeah, go on.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I like it better. Yeah, because sometimes I ain't even ready. How are you?
Yeah, I'm hot. I'm sweating. I'm going to have to turn the fan on in a second because I'm sat here sweating. That's why I don't want to come on camera. It's ridiculous. It's hot everywhere because they're engineering it to be hot everywhere. They want to dry out the crops. They want to dry out the earth. It's a scorched earth thing, isn't it?
I don't mean to laugh at that. Every time I think about that, and I just think about Tropic Thunder and stuff like that. I have a really weird sense of humor sometimes, but because even on some of the stuff with the Vanderbilts, because that family is so big and it's so scattered about through over the years that there's some parts of it that are just so far removed that they don't even realize they're part of that same family. It's crazy, but it's big.
I mean, go on. Sorry.
No. I was just thinking to myself. They leave it to where I don't really know how to feel about them all the way around. I just don't know how to feel, especially living in Asheville and growing up. Especially if you actually grew up in Asheville around it, the narrative that they give you about the whole story behind the house and the family and all that, you believe it because you're so indoctrinated to believe it. You don't even question it. So I'm sitting here with my buddy and he is laughing because I'm just listening to some of the stuff and I have this look of shock on. He's like, I've been telling you this. Why are you acting so surprised? I'm like, because that's not what we were told. I'm like, they just lied. And I'm just so shocked. Like, Emma, of course they lied. It's so funny to me. I've spent all day laughing, all morning just laughing. Like, oh my goodness. And we fell for it, especially me.
Yeah. Well, we've all been totally hook, line, and sinkered, all of us. Really, I mean, you know, there's a bunch of us that have been on this for quite a while, for like 8, 9, 10 years. There's other people that have been doing this for longer, calling it out for even longer, for 20, 30 years.
Yeah. See, well, you know, I learned everything. I'm learning everything backwards.
Yeah.
From how everybody else is. I'm learning it ass backwards. So things that like y'all don't know yet, I'm already aware of, but like this stuff, I don't know. I'm like, what in the hell is Tartaria? Literally, guys, just whole new thing to me. I'm like, what is this? And then I start looking into it and I'm like, see, this makes sense to me. I've always thought that. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're just now, and that's what you guys are calling it, Tartaria? I don't know why that seems weird to me. And I know you guys are like, why is she laughing? Like, you get it. We're getting there. We're getting there. That's all I can say. We're getting there.
Slowly but surely. I mean, I keep trying to remind myself that this is all theatre. What's going on is all theatre.
I'm trying to think of
design. It's designed to help us understand ourselves. As far as I'm concerned,
yeah.
it's designed to help us understand ourselves and see it, you know, because once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize it, it's, you know, so the whole point is to see it and to reject it. That's the idea. Is we're meant to see these things and then reject them and call them out for what they are.
Now, I did find something the other day that I wanted to show you that was really interesting. So I'm going to put it up on camera.
Say that again.
Oh.
We're getting grabbled. Getting grabbled.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a picture of it and send it. It looks like some, yeah, can you see it now?
Yeah, is that a ring?
Upside down. Yep. And it's got symbols on, but there's glare, so it's hard for you to see it. Let me see if I can put it in a better light. It's got it's a star.
Is that a sovereign?
And it looks like it's a star, and then it looks like a stag, but I can't tell if it's a stag or a crab now that I'm looking at it. You see? There's just, yeah, there we go. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I can't bring it back a little bit.
There we go.
No, it's a bit too close. Bring it back because it's not focusing. Bring it back a little bit. That's that. That's it.
Okay.
Now, so inside, is that because that looks a bit like a sovereign inside, like a sovereign coin?
There's a lot, bitter lot. Yeah, that's what it's. But it's a ring.
Yeah, no, but I mean, is there a coin in it? Is that a coin?
No, it's part of it. It's like well, you know, I guess it could be, but if it was, it would be really small to be a coin. It's really, you know, this looks like a crab.
How big is the ring? What finger does it fit on your finger? Is it a man's ring?
It would be my thumb. Yes, it's man's.
Right. So that looks like a pinky.
Yeah, because it fits my thumb.
Is it?
And that's the only finger it'll fit because my fingers
where did you get that?
They get bigger.
Where did you get that?
I thought it was really weird. I found it upstairs. So I was like,
upstairs.
This is, yeah. Let me tell you, that's where I found that book, that 2 kilos book. This book, just how big it is.
Right.
It's massive. And I'm
Yeah.
like, just when I told you I just geek out, I'll do this right here, and I'll just like flip open to some random page, and then it'll be some weird stuff like, here we go, like this, like, what is this about? It's some old woman holding a remote, and then it's everything in there is in English and Japanese, and involves something named. Okay, look at this again, guys. Hold on. Let me see. Boom and focus. You see it?
No, it's frozen.
That's what I'm talking about.
There
The
is.
the weirdest stuff.
Those are old phones. Those are old.
That's what it's like.
Dumb.
That's what it's like in a day in a life for them. I come across something like that, and then I spend at least a week obsessing over the bizarre nature of it. Like, what is this on me?
It's a bit weird why they're all basically posing, holding their dumb phones up. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So there's no, you're fine. There was, which is so weird because yes, they are, and it looks like a Nokia, right? But in the book, as it retells it, oh, look at this. I just like blipped over this. Now I read into this way differently than probably you would, but what do you see? Is the message in that?
They're holding palm trees. So
With the Men in Black, or like plants.
Men in Black.
I don't know. That's just what I got. That was like the weird download that I get when I looked at it. I was like,
potted plants.
What does that mean?
Three suits with potted plants.
Yeah.
It's.
Oh, see, I love it. That's why I love having conversations with you, because I have these aha moments.
I don't know what you are hard, but yeah, it's like, and maybe it's sort of alluding to infiltration.
Filtration. Oh.
You know, so plants, like potted plants, they're putting.
Yes. Yeah.
They're planting people into.
Yes.
Like, so
to filter information, and also to spread disinformation or misinformation, but also to filter information to different. You were saying, like to the parasites, like you don't want the parasite to know about the medicine and then adapt to it beforehand, type of thing. You know.
Yeah, they've been for the last, 40, 50, 60 years, however long it's been that they've been actually doing this. It's certainly been the last 20 years. The last 20 years they've been, 30 years. Since I was born, they have been slowly infiltrating every single group in society. So they've started at the schools, the school boards. That's where they've infiltrated the school boards. They've infiltrated the local councils. They've infiltrated local business. They've infiltrated corporations. They've infiltrated everything. They've put their plants. They've planted their little minions. Their flying monkeys. They're planted everywhere. It's the only way that they were able to do what they've done.
It reminds me of that movie, The Faculty.
Yeah. Yeah.
When have you ever seen that? Have you seen The Faculty?
Yeah, I can't remember what I have seen it. I can't remember. I'm getting confused with that film about the Skull and Bones Society. With Matt Damon. Is it Matt Damon?
Yeah, what is that one with the skull and bones? What is it called? The Skulls? I think it's just called The Skulls. No, it's called The Skulls. With Paul Walker and the other kid, right? And they get the Freemasons, like, kind of bring them into their, like, inner circle. They're in college. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it's Matt Damon.
Okay, that one. I don't remember if he's in that movie or not.
I think it's called Bones.
Is Matt Damon in it?
Because it's about the skull and bones. But
there might be, but there's also one that has to do with the high school kids and their teachers become infected with this like parasite, and then they whisper into one another's ear, but after they take them into the office, they whisper into their ear, whatever they come out, they're not the same. It's because they infect them with that parasite by like whispering stuff into their ear. It's really weird, but it reminds me, this is that type of scenario sometimes, because once you're infected with that nonsense, sometimes it's hard to get away from it.
Yeah. The other thing I just thought of with the palms is there's a Jason Archaics talks about the phoenix palms. You heard him talk about the phoenix palms, and they're somehow, they've got something to do with the phoenix. Maybe they only flower when the phoenix comes round or something. But there is a palm called the phoenix palm. So I wonder. I'm wondering if Nixon did anything wrong. Oh dear. Have you looked into Watergate? Have you seen that Watergate is basically just another con job, like the well, Mar-a-Lago, man. Like what's just happened to Trump? What happened to Alex Jones? Alex Jones gets taken to court and is not allowed to defend himself. He's not allowed to make any statements. He's not allowed to present any evidence. He's not allowed to defend himself. It is a
Are you serious?
default judgment. Yeah, it was a default judgment for Alex Jones. He wasn't allowed to do it, to say, and he wasn't allowed to defend himself at all.
Oh, I'm about to see. I didn't know that. I didn't follow the case because everything with that happened so quickly that, and with everything else that I already have going on, like it's kind of like the Johnny Depp thing. I was like, I'll get a recap when it's all said and done. But it happened so fast with Alex Jones that I was like, that is a little suspicious. But I had no idea he wasn't. Well, you know what I mean? Like, as far as it being like on public display, the way.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, that's not in that way either, because Johnny Depp was portrayed as being live, but I have screenshots that prove the screenshots I've got prove that it was absolutely not recorded live. It was the depositions that I screenshotted were given in 2020 and 2021, and we know that for a fact because that was the date that came up on the video when they played it on the VLC media player, which doesn't play live, it only plays pre-recorded videos. So they were playing a pre-recorded video as if it was a live deposition. And
which is why there were so many people laughing at it. Because some of us do remember that.
It was an absolute joke. That trial was a joke. It was just it was a showcase. It was just a bit of
a publicity stuff.
Basically, it was a distraction. It was to everybody. Like Roxanne was telling me that she was in a meeting. She was in a company meeting at work, right? And there was one of the girls was sat there on her phone watching the Johnny Depp trial. And when they turned round, because it suddenly they laughed or something, there was laughter or something came out of her phone, and she went, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just watching the Johnny Depp trial. I just can't take my eyes off it." And the entire fucking room, except for Roxanne, turned round and said, "Oh yeah, I know, God, it's crazy, isn't it?" And instead of admonishing her for not doing her job and sitting there in a company meeting watching social media, which is what would have happened when I was at work, when I used to work in an office 20 years ago. If I'd have done that, I would have been severely reprimanded in front of everybody. I would have been belittled, shamed, reprimanded, made to look like an idiot in front of everybody, because that you just don't do that in a fucking work meeting. You leave your personal shit
But
outside the
yeah,
door, and all your personal interests, they all get left at the door, and you go in through the company door, and all you do is work. That's that's what it
because
used to
it's
be.
called work for a reason.
Yeah. So that just proved that basically probably 80 or 90% of people were completely mesmerized by what they thought was live TV. Because if they had have seen that it wasn't live, but it was being portrayed as live, I mean, I wonder how many people saw those depositions and thought, 21st of December 2020. What? 21st of December 2020. But this is
I
2022.
hadn't heard of Dark Journalist. I'm gonna check that out.
Right. If anybody did actually notice it and then just continued, look, right. This is the funniest thing, is that even after I knew it, I still went back and watched some of them just for comedy value.
too.
Like I really liked watching the psychologist basically tearing Amber Heard to pieces.
You talk about,
Just
I know.
completely destroying her character, because she's an actress, man, and she's a very, very bad. Her attorney,
and the use of the P word.
That's what happens.
I can't.
That's what happens when you basically get your attorney from Craigslist. That's what happens.
I can't even. Like, the woman said the P word. First of all, to me, that is about the most unclassiest word for a woman to use outside of the C word, which I'm even guilty of myself. But still, for some reason, it's more auditory displeasing for me to hear the P word come out of a woman's mouth than it is the C word. And her use of that word during the trial was just in a courtroom. The pussy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I was like, see, I don't even it just sounds so bad. But in an open courtroom, I don't even care if that's what he used and you're referencing the comment. I go around it. There's another way. There's another word. I don't know. And how did she? And she felt so comfortable with it. So comfortable with it. I was like,
to be fair,
wow.
To be fair, in a court of law, because having been in that situation, well, not in that situation, but I've been in court a couple of times. Once behind the dock, and once as a witness. But they do that wasn't unusual that she just read it out. What's unusual is that it was televised. That would have been done in the privacy of the courtroom.
Yeah, right? That's what normally, I would think.
Like, that sort of thing, normally. Because they watch, in real court cases, they watch horrific videos of evidence,
graphic stuff.
They see what is there. They see what is actually, like, if it's some sort of really nasty video, they'll watch it uncensored because it's part of the court case, and then it's not meant to be censored it's evidence, so they can't censor it. So I see where you're coming from, but that wasn't gratuitous. That was just
right. We're normally sheltered from that kind of.
It was gratuitous because it was televised.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, normally we would, even when we watch true crime, when I used to watch cable, I would watch court TV. And court TV would publicly air these trials, but during those specific parts, especially when there's evidence and testimony, specific parts would just be bleeped out or not even televised at all.
It would be post-production.
So to hear that, I was like, what? On YouTube.
So what they may have done, what they actually may have done is stage the thing as it was, maybe they were actually doing all that live with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp in the courtroom. That was all a live performance, but they were using props, being the depositions and stuff, presented as being live, but they weren't live. So it was a completely choreographed production. That's all it was. It was a production to keep everybody fixated and just totally distracted from what was actually going on at the time. And I can't even tell you what actually went on in
What's
real
going on
life.
at the time? I know, me
At the
neither. Me
time.
neither. So then now I look back and I go, oh, gosh, dang it. Every time we acknowledge it, and then we literally walk right into the door. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I walked in the door and smashed my damn face again. What? What do you mean? You just said you see the door. Hello. But it's like it's glass, so we don't really see it. You know what I mean? It's there, but it ain't. It's so crazy.
That's the daftest thing, is it's there, you know it's there, but in that moment you forget, you don't see it, and bang!
It's like bam every time. That's why I sit back and laugh all the time. I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, humans, let's do this. Forget. We're just gonna wing it for the rest of it, anyways. Why not? Because it's all just so funny in the end, and you realize everything, the reality, the nature of reality, and that what it is in our existence, and that you just can't help but laugh. Because if you
No.
can't laugh, then I mean,
This is how we're going to win, right?
yeah,
This is how we win. This is how we beat them. This is how we come out on top, by never, ever allowing ourselves to be triggered, to be to get infuriated and angry, and then pass that on, spread it out amongst everybody else, that anger and that, like I said, when you're expressing your anger to somebody, it doesn't matter if the anger is about them or about somebody else.
right.
They're feeling that anger, and it affects them personally, whether the anger was directed at them or not. So
Right.
if we can really seriously, like, you have to switch a switch in your head that literally says, yeah, none of this is real. The only
Right.
thing that you can guarantee, the only thing that you can actually guarantee is real, or as real as can be, is what you actually experience physically in your own personal life,
In your own reality.
your own actual experiences. You can. They're the only things that you can attest to being real.
Real. Everything
Because
else around you is not.
exactly, like even down to,
And it is only as real as you make it to be.
yeah. And the thing is, I mean, then that's what does that mean, that you're not real and I'm not real and none of this? Well,
I'm like, now you're just getting into word salad mode, Jumbo. I don't have time to get in that trivial nonsense. That's not what I mean. And you know that, because I know you're real, just like I know I'm real. I know, like, people in the chat are real. We communicate, and like, especially once I've communicated that with outside of here,
things that we can interact with, right?
that we are experiencing, that's real. Other stuff, not real. To me, I'm just like, that's part of the sim, and that's the brilliance of it too, is that it does seem so real.
Or it's fake, and that's the whole the idea, is that you recognize that it's fake, you call it out for being fake, and you fuck it off. You say, yeah, you're fake, fuck off. And that happens in real life with real people. We make our judgments on people. We come to conclusions about people based on their behavior, based on their actions. And so we can actually determine if somebody is real or not, that's in somebody that we're interacting with, or a situation that we're interacting with, whatever it is. You can actually determine in the moment if it's real or not. All of these other things that we're seeing on TV, all of these other stories that have been thrown down our throats, like pushed down our throats, all of these other narratives, there's not one of them that's real. Because not one of us can actually confirm. Not one of us.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and I was like, this is where my brain goes at 2 in the afternoon. I'm like, I wonder if Bradley Cooper's real. So does that mean that, like, a lot of the celebrities in Hollywood are not real? Because that would really suck if Bradley Cooper wasn't real. Like, that is where I was at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Like, what the hell? Where does that shit come from? Like, really? But then I was like, he's probably not real.
that's the thing we have to. It's yeah, like or there's the bad things, the really horrible, shitty, nasty, horrible, scary things. They're not real, but actually, it means that some of those good things as well, they're not real either. The only good things that you can really count on
Exactly.
are the ones that you do. That you know, you're
Because I grew up watching scary movies. Like literally, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old. Would watch the Nightmare on Elm Street, and watch Michael Myers and all that stuff. Like it wasn't nothing, because my dad would always tell us, "Remember, none of this is real." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, right, Dad. None of this is real." So that's how we just adapted it. Now, when I watch it, I'm horrified. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is why kids are running around like little freaks, because we've desensitized them to all of this crap." And now I'm like,
Yep.
okay, so how can I stop this? This is why this video that I watched a couple nights ago from Byrne and this other guy about intergenerational epigenetic trauma. I was like, oh my gosh, it's probably one of the most profound videos I've watched all year. Seriously, I was like, oh my gosh. And it just makes sense. And I can see why we are doing what we're doing right now collectively, because we have to stop that.
Yeah, and
We have to
that's the
stop
other
that.
thing as well. It's good that you mention that, because we need to remind ourselves of that as well. I think, as crazy as it might sound, I'm certain of this. Like, I'm as certain can be. We've all been here before. We've all done this. A lot of us have been here since the beginning of
Yep.
this entire thing. Now, whether it's the beginning of the simulacrum, as Jason puts it, or whether it's the beginning of reality, full stop, in this realm, we've been here since the beginning, and that's why we're able to say, no, that's
Like, not
bullshit.
today. Mhm.
That's bullshit. Absolute no bullshit. Not real
Because we're like, we've
bullshit.
done this before. Bullshit. Don't you come over here with that
The,
mess.
and we've dealt with these people before.
Yes,
I
because
think
it's the
that's
same
why.
people.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
same. And I'm
Exactly.
like, you don't think I don't recognize your monkey ass? Go on with that shit. I know. This is bullshit. Like, keep it moving. That's why I talk to myself a lot, and people are like, I know that people that live directly around me think I am batshit crazy. There is no doubt in my mind. Because I'll be out in the yard talking to the trees, looking up at the sky, pointing at stars, talking to the sun. Because I got to do this thing every day where I go out and I stand directly in the sunlight. I'll let it hit this certain part of my forehead, basically right where the pineal gland is, right in that area. And I'll just do that for like a good 20 minutes, because it just seems normal to me. I know this, like, people are like, what? It's normal to me, because I think honestly we really are supposed to in some form be filter feeding off the sun. I mean, we get vitamin D from the sun. We get it from milk and stuff too, but we also get it from the sun. It's part of our existence and being here. It's part of how we are supposed to be living. This makes sense to me.
The sun. Yeah. I mean, the sun. For me, I think we actually get more energy than we realize from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that half the energy that I exist on at the moment is from the sun. From the brief walks that I take outside with Alfie. I don't wear my sunglasses after I forget who it was that was saying about that, about wearing sunglasses in the sun. So I stopped. I take my sunglasses out, but I wear them on the top of my head. I don't actually put them on unless,
That's interesting.
unless I really
Unless
have
it gets
to,
really, really bright. Yeah.
yeah, like where there's all these white walls and stuff. Sometimes
Yeah.
the white.
Have you been having like intense sunsets in the evening there, where it is like it's like phenomenally bright light?
No, because a lot of the time what they've done is there's a layer of cloud that the sun appears to sink into as it appears to set. It gets hidden by the clouds that have been seeded out over the ocean, or the clouds that are here. they're making most sunsets. They're putting clouds up so you can't see it. But sorry, I just saw this comment.
Okay, my mic was off.
Dude, Squirrel, this, like, I love Rex. I do. I think he's a really nice guy, and I like him, and I watch him when he's speaking to Bernie and Cam, and that's the only time. That's the only time I will entertain anything that Rex Bear has to say, because that's the only time that I can actually get on board with anything that he has to say, because Rex Bear, unfortunately, is a gatekeeper. He doesn't realize it.
I knew
that's exactly what he is. He's a gatekeeper. He's there to keep people.
That's what I thought, and I was like,
you know, asking the wrong questions.
God,
He's
I bet
got
he
people
don't even
asking
know.
the wrong questions. Sorry, go on.
And it's so sick that the way they infiltrate your thought process, that what I call the uppers, because they're the ones that they're able to do, like you said, Rex is a gatekeeper. He doesn't know because they've infiltrated, they almost like hijacked his brain. I love it. I love Rex, but I only watch, like you said, there's only like certain things that I'll entertain. Because honestly, that's how me and you found one another, was kind of like through Rex and Daisy. It was a little bit of both of them.
It was just Daisy, I think. I don't remember seeing you with Rex, but it was.
No, but because Rex had a mod that timed me out, so I had a video discussing that, and Rex had left a comment on my video, and so then you commented on the fact, that he is interacting. Yes, and so I have a really sharp memory, so I remembered that, and I was like, oh, that was so funny.
That's
because
the thing,
Rex has gotten. Well. I feel like sometimes he's gotten, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, because I do, but sometimes I feel like he's like a little big for his britches, or his ego gets a little ahead of him. I don't know. I didn't like it when he brought what's her name along, Penelope. I don't know. Maybe that's her name. He had the only reason I was watching him most recently was because of Scott Walter. Like I'm obsessed with his archaeology and stuff that he does, the weird rock stuff that he does. Because that's, I went and seen the petroglyph. What is it, geoglyph or petroglyph out here, Judicula? It's a rock. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a star map. I don't know what cluster or whatever it's from, but as soon as I looked at it, I knew that's what it was. There, like you said, we've been here before. There's something in my DNA that I knew when I looked at that rock. I was like, oh, that's a star map. I just don't know where it goes. And then was watching him talk about that when he was talking about the rune stones and stuff, that or something like that. It's a huge rock, but it's so worn down now because we've gotten a lot of rain here over the last 5 years. It's been like, when we get rain, and it's days on end of rain. Not just a day, it's days every time we get rain. I can't stand it.
And it didn't used to be like that, did it? 10 years ago?
No, we'd hardly even have winters anymore. Like, I mean, last year it snowed one time, the whole winter. And when I was a kid, we had blizzards. Like, because I survived the blizzard, we had blizzards. So, and we don't hardly even have snow anymore. Like, how in the hell does that happen? Oh, I know, Raytheon and stuff like that.
I mean, where you are is absolutely, like, I think you're exactly where you need to be. There's a reason why you're there.
Yeah.
But you're exactly where you need to be. It's to witness something. You're there to witness something. You're not there to get involved or to try and stop anything. You're just there to witness it.
So I can retell it the way it's supposed to. The way it's supposed to be.
So that you can call it out.
Narrative, yes.
And so that you can, so you can testify, basically.
Because it's big. It's a big deal.
Well, it's a big deal, especially when you link it to to Biltmore House and the Vanderbilts and all of that.
Goodness. And I ain't even tell you about when I came out of the grocery store the other night, and there was this car that immediately caught my attention because it was all blacked out, the windows were tinted, and it was running, but nobody was in it. And I've always had the habit of checking the tag or the license plate. So, you know me, I'll just like bebop around the car and I see the tag and I'm instantly like, oh my gosh, because they have a Masonic symbol on the tag. So it was a custom tag with a Masonic. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna quietly go to my car now and act like this didn't happen. Like, because I just didn't even know how to feel about that. I was like, so yeah, I agree with you on that. I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like, but sometimes I'm like, I should dial my nosiness back just a bit because I can't help but be curious when it's like right literally in my backyard. I can't help but be like,
I don't know about toning the nosiness down, but just certainly make sure that if you're going to be nosy, just be bloody careful. You know,
exactly.
don't put yourself in any unnecessary danger. You know, of your liberty. More than anything, like don't get caught sneaking into a Raytheon hangar arrested.
I was like, I don't have the night vision tech that I want. So once I could get like a drone that has psionics on it, which is a type of night vision tech they have out, which makes it literally look like it's daylight when you're looking through that scope, and it's not. Oh my God! Now, if I get my hands on that, we might be in the level of concern of Emma sneaking over there. But no, because I know that it's still Biltmore Estate proper. Well, Biltmore Estate donated it, but it's also partly on federal land, and we all know why they did that, of course. So you can't really get your hands on certain information because they're working on classified projects and stuff at Raytheon, obviously. But that's why they do it like that. And I know that the Biltmore House in a certain area of the back of the estate property, they have hunting grounds. And so I'm not trying to sneak in on any part of the property like that where they could even possibly do some stuff and say, oh, well, we thought she was a deer.
Why? Oh, do you know, as soon as you said hunting ground,
yeah,
it made me think of what's that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie?
Oh my gosh, I can see like the movie ever,
right? Because I do think that they do this. I do actually. I don't think it's just a scare story. I think that is actually something that these sickos do, is hunting people.
Yeah.
You know, basically put them in get them into the Biltmore Estate, right? Blindfolded in the Biltmore Estate, and then
because there's
you got a 5-minute head start. Off you go.
Yeah, there's so many trails that if you walk them long enough, they're public trails. You can access these trails that are public, right? But you're not paying attention and you walk off the trail and you get on the wrong trail off the trail, then you end up lost in the back of the hunting trail. Like that's very common shit. That's when I started putting two and two together about the vastness of the property when you because the story that they give to you when you visit the estate, there's a guided tour you can take, and then there's a solo tour you can take on your own, but you're still only allowed to go through certain areas of the house because obviously they don't want people touching everything in there and just all kinds of stuff like that. But that's when I started realizing, like, the story is that he came to Asheville, he looked literally as far as the eye could see and purchased the land. So then I was like, okay, wait a minute. If that was true, which once I started looking, so you have access to the Blue Ridge Parkway around here, which will take you further up the mountain here, and you can look outward and see what he would be looking at from the house to the mountain point. Then you can see the scale of how much land they actually own, and they basically built Asheville or everything around it and made it what it is. But how they were able to do that and all the dark stuff that's behind that is what they try to keep under wrap. And that's why, yeah. So it's like, but I mean, they had to have known that at some point that people were going, especially once we were given the internet and technology and we were able to look up things. But that's the reason why I say you don't believe everything you read or that you hear, and sometimes not even what you see. You just have to know, you have to know it. That's what I don't, that's the reason why I don't necessarily like the word believe. It's what I know and what I know to be true and my truth versus like what other people's truth is obviously not going to be the same as mine because their reality and their perception is not going to be the same as mine. We're two different people living in two different bubbles on the same plane. The plane, Indy, the plane.
I mean, it's parallel realities, basically. We are all existing in parallel realities, and therefore, as a default, we're living in parallel universes. My universe is parallel to yours. It's my perception of it. My perception of what the universe is. Guarantee it's not the same as yours. Guarantee it. It might be similar, might have similarities, but I can guarantee that my perception is not the same as yours or anybody else's in this chat. My perception is unique to me. Your perception is unique to you. As with every other individual on this earth, our perception is unique to us. It's nobody else can possibly have the same perception of everything that you do, because nobody else has lived your life. Nobody else is you. You are you. You're the only one who is you. Nobody else is you, so nobody else can see what you can see.
Exactly. And I believe, you know, I have the whole color spectrum and sight theory that I have, which is like, I don't believe, and it's the same thing with sound. I don't believe everybody hears on the same frequencies, and I don't believe everybody sees on the same light spectrum. So like some things that I'm able to see, I don't expect everybody else around me to see because I don't think that they can see on some of the same light spectrum frequency or scope that I see. I think it works with babies and infants the same way, where they're able to see stuff when they first get here that we look over because of everything that they give us in the water and the food and they dump on us. Then we lose that ability.
How much are we made to filter out? How much are we conditioned to filter out? Because like you say, when we're children, kids, like young children, 2, 3 years old,
yeah,
they have full-blown conversations. They have, like, you could say it's their imagination, but the thing is, with some of the things that go on, where did they get that imagination? How could they possibly have had that imagination? Because they haven't had enough life experience yet
to conjure it up,
to conjure up that imagination. So, and you know, I know from my parents telling me about it. I know that I had my granddad came to visit me the moment he died. His spirit came to visit me and was with me until my parents got home. And when they got home, I got really upset because then when they came in my room, my granddad flew away. My granddad disappeared. He didn't stay. He left as soon as they opened the door. He left. So,
and that was you, because then then your brain subconsciously started putting things together as your parents probably proceeded to tell you.
I told my parents. They said, "Who are you talking to, Rich?" Because I was having a full-on conversation with him, quite an advanced conversation for a 6-year-old to have. And they asked me who I was talking to, and I said, "It's Granddad." They then told me, "No, Richard, no, it couldn't have been Granddad. It couldn't have been Granddad. It was just your imagination. Granddad died 4 hours ago." So they conditioned me to disbelieve my own experience. To disbelieve, I told them, "I've just been talking to Granddad for the last 4 hours," and they said, "No, you weren't. They weren't there, and they couldn't see it." But no, you weren't. You couldn't have been. That was imagination. That was all in your mind, Rich. You couldn't have been talking to Granddad for 4 hours because he's been dead for 4 hours.
That is what I'm so grateful that my parents never they never did that to me. And I don't know if my sister's experience with my mom and dad, I'm not sure her experience with mom and dad is way different than mine. I know it to be different than mine just because of how I've seen them interact with her and versus how I interact with them is very, very different. But her and I are two very different people. They never did that. They also never told us, they didn't force religion on us, and they didn't tell us that we could not explore things like going to church and stuff like that. They weren't religious people. My mom was when she was a kid growing up. Her family was more religious, but my dad is Native American, so like he's spiritual. It's not a religious thing for him. It's not like that at all. So, but they neither one of them would force either thing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that your dad was Native American.
Yeah. A lot of people.
Awesome. Do you know what tribe?
Huh?
Do you know what tribe?
Cherokee, the Eastern Band of Cherokee. Yeah.
I was
really
listening to Michelle Gibson talking about the Choctaws and there were the 5 tribes that were considered they're considered to be civilized, weren't they? They were not violent.
I know that there was I don't know. I'm gonna assume. I don't want to say for sure because I think the Cherokee was in with that, but I'm not 100% sure. The Choctaw is
I think the Cherokee was one of those tribes because
they were, I think, pretty generally peaceful. They have dances. They still have a what is it? There's a thing that they have it's coming soon because they do it every fall when they do it. And for some reason, I'm just losing. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of what it's called, but it's a dance that they do every year. And it's right here. It's right outside because I live in Asheville. Cherokee is about an hour from here. That's where the tribal lands are. And it's really small. The reservation, it's actually really sad how small they've sequestered them off to this piece of land down there. It's like it kind of makes me angry and it gets me upset when I talk about it because of what they did, but it makes me more angry with the Cherokee people for allowing it to happen. That's why that may be why
the thing is,
I talked to you about that before because I think it's one of those unresolved traumas that I haven't really dealt with yet because I think that's why my dad is real quiet and hasn't talked a lot of some of the trauma that he's been through growing up and what his mom went through when she was growing up because she is also Native, so he gets it from his maternal side. I don't think his side is Native.
Have you ever played Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, but my son is obsessed with that game.
Right. So Red Dead Redemption 2, they basically tell the truth in Red Dead Redemption 2 about what happened with the Native American Indians. They were completely, totally, and utterly betrayed, lied to, screwed over. And it was the robber barons, the corporate. It was the likes of people like the Vanderbilts and the Rothschilds and the Astors and all of them. They came in and destroyed these people. Utterly destroyed them. Made promises, made treaties, then broke them. So kept moving them around all the time, moving them from one reservation to now we want with that reservation, we found oil under there and that's we claim it, that's our land, we own that land now and you have to get off it. Can you imagine being a Native American? I mean, we can, all of us can imagine exactly what that would be like. Like you're living a beautiful life at one with nature, with one with everything and everyone, and then these Europeans who don't speak, you don't understand what language they're speaking, they're coming over speaking with these god awful sounds coming out of their mouths with these scary horrific weapons that basically guns and cannons and all and gunpowder and all that, and then they tell the American Indians that they have no right to the land, that they own the land, and that these people have to move, and there's nothing that they can do because their weapons are inferior. There aren't as many of them in comparison. Like they're not organized in the same way. They're not used to battle. They're not used to having to fight. I think all the stories that we're told about the Native American Indians, maybe towards the end, that they warred amongst themselves, or at some point they were warring amongst themselves, but I don't think they were for the whole time. I think they probably lived peacefully together.
Yeah, did.
And it was the introduction of the Europeans that
they
caused them
disbanding and actually sectoring off into their own little tribes.
Yeah, because basically you would have had those people saying, no, we can't fight, we can't be violent, blah, blah, blah. And then you would have had other ones saying, fuck you, this is war.
Yeah, that's why there's two different, or at least as far as I know, there's the Eastern Band, and then there's another band of Cherokee that I think is more out west, and that they were divided because of their interaction with the Europeans. So I know that like I said, I know on my dad's side, it's his maternal side that he gets his Native American from. And then as far as her mother is concerned, I'm not exactly sure if she is full European or not. So that would be my great grandmother. I'm assuming, because her name is Emma and I'm named after her, that she is European. But because my dad's mother is Native, I'm assuming that her father must not have been. It must have been a Native. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. That makes a lot of sense as to why there's like a bunch of, like, when I go to the family tree, there's all these question marks and these blank spaces, and it kind of makes sense to me because they're supposed to be secret. Because she's European. So then, I mean, there's like a huge question mark there in my book, and it makes me lean towards like not the European side. I just feel like maybe like that was something, I don't know. That's some unresolved stuff that I have to deal with. It's just at my own time, because I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. Then, of course, my great grandmother's side is where the Inman family comes into play, and they're from South Carolina and all that. It's a real big family down there in South Carolina. So I don't know exactly how that factors in, but I do feel like it's very, very important. Vanderbilt. Oh yeah. I love Sherry. I love talking to Sherry. That's no coincidence. I do not believe in coincidences. I just can't. There's so many things that have happened in my life leading me to where I am right now that there's no way those are all coincidences. I'm like, nope, this is a plan. This is a strategically thought out plan. It's more like my destiny. So that's why I just stay the course most of the time. I'm like, no matter how frustrating life gets and how bad it can get for me sometimes, I'm just like, nope, somewhere I signed up for this in space time apparently. So I'm just gonna stand down.
Yeah. You're absolutely right though. Coincidence doesn't exist, because like if I look back on my life, if things hadn't played out the way they played out, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have the knowledge that I do now. I wouldn't have the experiences that I do now. That because of those experiences, I'm able to say, no, this is bollocks, or whatever. I'm able to discern, thanks to the experiences in my life. I'm able to discern fact from fiction most of the time. Thank you, Gumby Bear. Thank you, man. Em will be pleased to hear that. This is awesome, Richie. Great guest out of the blue. I'm feeding the patch and listening, and it doesn't get any better. Thank you very much, mate. Do you hear that, Em? You're a great guest.
Oh, my mic was off. Thank you. That is really sweet. That is really kind of you. This is very impromptu of us too, by the way. We didn't actually plan this out.
Say that again.
I said it's very impromptu of you and I. We didn't actually plan this out, so that is really kind of you. Really appreciate that.
I just had to say something about that Ponerology, or whatever it's called. The Pathocracy. And I I had to say something about that. I thought, I can just share. I'll just share, quite frankly's video about it, because he does an absolutely brilliant job. But I didn't want to just share somebody else's work. I wanted to, I wanted to input on it as well. I've just seen what the bloody time is.
Yeah.
Oh God, how long have we been?
I have to go walk the dog. I have to too. Here in a minute, I have to let mine go.
It's amazing how quickly time just goes, pew, especially when you're having fun.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to.
Go on, sorry.
I'm just gonna do that, but I also wanted to watch what you were talking about, because I hadn't seen that, and I saw that you were talking about that earlier in Signal. So
yeah,
I need to check that out. And I saw that you were live. I clicked on it. I saw that you were live, so I was like, oh, I know. I got to check out See, I haven't seen the first part that you were talking about.
The video, you go and watch quite frankly's video. The link is in. Actually, I'll put it in there again.
Okay.
Hang on. History. Huh. Oh, there it is. 1 second. Right. There's the link in the chat to, quite frankly's video about it.
Okay.
He's got the text, because all I did was read the text off of his screen, because I couldn't find the original text that he took it from. And I'm not about to spend 57 euros on the book, so I just paused it and read what he had up on his screen, which is basically just what he did. I just did exactly what he did. It's just I had my own input on some of the examples and stuff. But it's definitely worth watching. If whoever's listening, if you haven't come across Quite Frankly before, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend his channel. And yeah, it basically describes exactly what's going on. It was written 15 years ago, and it was spot on. And 15 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to. You would have been able to point out some examples. You would have been able to say, "Oh yeah, that person, and that person." But 15 years ago, it was a completely different place to now.
Yeah. Yes. I agree.
It's mindset
altogether with a lot of us.
It's almost like we've gone through a Mandela effect in the last 15 years, and everybody's been replaced.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it perfectly describes the situation. We've got all of the people in power, every single one of them, bar none, is a subspecies. They're not human. They're not like you or me. They're persons. They're legal persons. Every single one of them is a corporate fiction. Every single one of them is listed as a corporate fiction. Their
Yeah.
names are corporations. Every one of them, their name is a corporation, and that technically is what is for every single one of us. We're all
Yeah.
corporations in order to operate in this fictional world, because we live in a world of fiction. Everything is fiction, and the only factual
Like that, and you create content. It's really important to understand that we're not necessarily a fiction per se, but we have to operate around that same realm because that's how they have it set up.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you can't walk into a court of law and speak to the judge.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You'll be held in contempt because you're a dead entity, and the dead cannot speak to the living.
Right. And that's just so, and that alone right there is like, whoa. When in reality, they're the dead ones.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah.
Like, wait a minute,
They are all dead inside.
your horse acting like you high and mighty. I can't speak to you because you alive. No, let me help you. You dead. On the inside, everything on the outside is ugly. You dead. That's the reason why I hate going to court, but I will go to court long enough to where they get annoyed with my presence and see that I'm not going to foot over any money any more than I already have. And then they just toss out whatever. And it's usually some kind of traffic infraction because I refuse to let people tell me that I can or can't drive when I know that I can operate the vehicle. I know how to drive. I don't need them to tell me I got to go get a driver's license. Oh, I'm so
Actually,
stubborn.
technically, in a legal sense, you're not driving. You're traveling.
Exactly.
The only people that drive are people that work for the government. They're drivers, but you're traveling. You might be operating the vehicle that you're traveling in, but all you're doing is traveling. So you're not, it's
Yeah,
they've got us over a barrel with that one. I mean, they have got us over a barrel with that one, but
because every time they give me a ticket for driving without a license, they sometimes can't decide whether it's. I'm like, you can't give me a ticket for driving without a license when I've never had one. So the next time I got that infraction, it was driving on a revoked, and I was like, no, correction, you can't give me that
because you're not revoked. You never had a license to revoke.
Revoked, and they were like, okay, how are we going to get her the next time? It was driving on suspended. I was like, nope, not suspended. I've never had one, guys. Try again. And I don't think they pulled me over for that since then. So I'm always waiting for the next time they pull me over and see what they're going to give me for because I'm always driving, and they go, "Where's your license?" I'm like, "You guys know that I don't have one." And they're like,
I mean, if you're
guys,
the thing is, if you're not doing making any sort of minor infractions, if you're not so long as you drive within the code kind of thing, you indicate, you don't speed, you drive safely,
yeah,
and kind of according to the rules of the road, then they shouldn't have any reason to pull you over. If
well,
they pull you over, if they do pull you over just because they suspect or whatever, then I think you can. That's when you can say to them, like, "Yeah, I don't answer questions.
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I don't answer questions. I can't." I mean, you could almost. I won't do this here, right? I won't do this here where I am. But what I want to, if I was in the UK, right? If I was in the UK, or if they spoke English here, if this was an English-speaking country, and everything was, I would, the next time I get stopped by the police for whatever reason, I would just basically give them a blank stare and say, "I'm terribly sorry, but Every time I see your mouth is moving, I can see that your mouth is moving, but
To the
I'm a
word.
living man. I'm a living man, and you are operating under. Are you an officer or are you a constable? Well, you're either operating as a constable or as an officer. Either way, you're a fictional entity, and I can't. You're a dead fictional entity in the eyes of the law,
And like I
and I'm
can't.
a living man, and you can't communicate with me. You're not allowed to communicate with me. So I won't be answering any questions. I can't hear anything you're saying. You're a dead fictional entity.
Every time I get, and it's I have what it is so they get behind me and they will run the tag of the vehicle I'm in, which is mainly the reason why they're even stopping me in the first place, because the car and who it's associated with, they want to see if that person is in the vehicle, and they usually are. And so, but I'm the one driving. And so they always come upon this issue, which I know the local law really well. And I call them on that every time they pull us over. I'm like, first of all, you can't, why are you stopping us? You're out of your jurisdiction for where you're supposed to be pulling us over. You are stopping us because you suspected that this person may or may not be in the car. And that's just, officer, this is wrong. And then, of course, me and smoking weed and stuff. They'll be like, well, we found this paraphernalia, and it turns out that you have a failure to appear for your last traffic ticket. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, damn, I did miss a court date. And so then I usually end up going to court for something like that. Or I got in trouble a couple of years ago, and I have a trespassing charge, which has to do with an issue with my parents, and they didn't go to court when they were supposed to, so they didn't get thrown out, and I got arrested because of that. And my temper while I was in jail got me in even more trouble. So,
Yeah.
which I thought that I was thinking about that. I was charged with injury to real property, and the real property was a phone. And it was injured. I was like, not really, because I put it back together and it was still working right after or right before the phone. I broke well, they said that I broke a phone. And so they charged me with the jail, the Buncombe County Sheriff's Department.
Oh, did you smash the receiver or something?
I did, but it's made like those 1980s like telephones that are in the payphone. It's made like that. So like the earpiece at the top just kind of like came off, and I just quickly picked it up and like made sure the wiring was good to go, and just screwed it back on. And I picked it up and I slapped the little receiver down, so I listened for the dial tone, heard the dial tone. And I hung it up, and then like 3 officers come in there and just like smushed my face against the wall. It was like, what are you doing? And I was like, look, this is my first rodeo with y'all. This is the very first time I'd ever been arrested. I was like, I asked her how to use the phone so I can call and get bailed out 3 different times now. I only have so much patience, y'all. Y'all saw it. It's gone. The phone is still working. So then my attorney came and asked me if I wanted to plead guilty. And I was like, no. I'm not. He was like, why? Why don't you want to play? I was like, what do you mean why? I was like, I didn't injure anybody or anything. I was like, the phone was still working when they took me out of the cell. So it was working. It means it's not injured and it's in working condition. So therefore, this is a bogus charge. He was like,
you fixed it. You put it back together again.
Yeah, you can even. I was like, and I knew that, and I knew where the camera was in the cell. I was like, that overlooks it because I was in booking still. I was like, go pull the tape from the jail. And the attorney, this is a public defender. He just looks at me. He goes, "Are you serious?" I was like, "I'm dead ass serious. I'm not fixing to sit here and plead guilty to y'all shit just to make it easier on y'all. No, go get the damn tape." He was like, 2 weeks later, I come back to court, and he was like, "They're gonna throw it out. They're gonna throw your charge out." I was like, "Yeah, damn right they are, because I didn't injure nobody."
Yeah, like, but if you pleaded guilty, if you just bowed and buckled to their intimidation, it would have been a different story. And I mean, that's that. Yeah, so I'll just remind you that
y'all met wrong country girl, because I know my law and I didn't injure nothing. That's why y'all see me pick it up and listen for the dial tone. I'm like, oh shit, yep, still working, click. And that's when the 3 officers mushed my face up against the wall. I was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, Not today, y'all. So instantly I comply. I don't try to resist because I'm not trying to get beat up or none of that. I just instantly was like, y'all, look, y'all pissed me off, and that is what it is. So do what you got to do. And that's what they gave me the charge. And I was like, well, I'm gonna fight that because that damn phone's still working. Y'all ain't fitting to give me no bogus ass charge. And they're like, do we need to put you in solitary? And I was like, if you don't take me downstairs and shower me out soon, yes, you're probably gonna have to put me in solitary. So, I'm just telling y'all, you can make your day shit or not. That's on you. So yeah, they know me.
Well,
They're familiar with me. And it's not something I'm proud of, but I also don't want, like, when I am dead and gone and my kids and my grandkids and all that have to look back on their GG, I don't want them to think I was just a pushover. And especially because I'm already a small person. Like, I wasn't just some little bitty woman that just got pushed around all her life. No, not me.
what, right. On that note, right. Because I've just, it's 8 o'clock and I'm going to have to, I've got to take these dogs out and stuff. But so I'm gonna wrap it up, but we will be back. But on that note, I just want to remind or reiterate to you and to everybody listening, don't take any shit. Don't take any shit off anyone, but always try and keep your cool. Always try and keep your cool, because as soon as we lose our temper, as soon as we start shouting, get angry, start hitting, as soon as we do that, we discredit ourselves, because we then it's difficult. If somebody were to walk in at the moment when you're freaking out, they don't know why you're freaking out. They just see somebody freaking out, and it ends up being more damaging to us.
That's what I've been trying to keep in mind lately.
It's really, really difficult. I find it extremely difficult. To keep your cool, especially in certain situations. But what I would suggest is getting down a gym, or buying a punch bag, or something where you can express in private, where with either only people who understand, or just in private.
I never thought
you
about
can express your anger.
Idea.
Get it off your chest, and so it's not sat there. You have to get it out. You have to get it off your chest, but don't allow it to fester, and don't allow it to express it, and then get it out and gone, and that's it.
Get it out and go.
Yeah, and then once it's gone, preferably in a private in a private scenario where it's not gonna hurt anybody. It's just gonna get absorbed into the pillow or into the wall that you're shouting at, or whatever. But if we can keep our cool, and better than that, much better than that, instead of getting angry, if we can just laugh, because nothing will infuriate them more than you just laughing at them, not taking anything they say seriously. Don't take anything they say to heart. Don't take anything they say seriously at all. Laugh at it, because it's a joke, because they're not real people. They're subspecies. So the more we can do that, the more we can keep control of our emotions, the more power we'll have.
Yes. That's where they get me. That's where they try me the most. Like daily now. It's every day. Let's get her hot button pressed. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna walk off. So on that note, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll talk to you guys.
And it definitely it's very difficult to appreciate it when you're younger. For me, it was. When they say, be the bigger man, and walk away. Be the bigger man. But it literally is, because it's so much harder to not react than it is to react. That it's easy to react, absolutely easy to just lose your rag and get like, it's a piece of this to lose your rag and get angry and start screaming and shouting, but it takes an incredible amount of self-control to not express that until you're in a safe, private setting. You know, in the moment, you just laugh. Oh, that was good, man. That was good. Do you do stand up? Are you here all week? That was brilliant, man. Fucking hell. Go on, tell me another one. Tell me another one. Oh, that's brilliant. And that if we can approach life like that, we're going to win so much quicker, because they will burn themselves out getting angry.
Yeah, because that, and I've noticed that lately. I've tried to practice a little bit more, and you can see that. So that's good.
Yeah. So big shout out to the chat room.
Yes.
Awesome chat today.
Hello.
Awesome people. Brian, Indigo, Gumby, TW. Oh, by the way, TW, aliens. Just very quickly before we go, aliens. America is the best example of this. What do they call illegal immigrants? They're referred to as illegal aliens. They were always referred to as illegal aliens, not illegal immigrants. They were illegal aliens. That's because alien is not alien is here. We like, it's a description of something already here on this earth. Extraterrestrials come from extra land. Doesn't mean they come from a planet. And oh, where's she gone? I just lost M. Where'd you go? Anyway, extra land, extraterrestrial. They still come from this place. They can't. That nothing outside of this realm can get into this realm physically. Nothing. I don't even know if anything outside of this realm is physical. But there's certainly nothing outside of this, nothing physical outside of this realm that can come into this realm. This realm has been an enclosed system for as long as it's been here. It's always been an enclosed system. So aliens landing on flat Earth. Yes, aliens can land on flat Earth. They take a aeroplane and they fly and then they land. Aliens can land on flat Earth, no problem. Aliens exist. They're everywhere. If I come over to America without any paperwork, I am an illegal alien. So this whole idea of extraterrestrials coming from different planets, when we've already proven that the Earth is not a spinning ball, and there's plenty of, there are scientific experiments that have proven that beyond any shadow of doubt. It's just that the mainstream narrative chooses to ignore them. As soon as they came out, they ignored them. One of them, they called it a folly. They said it was a folly and that the experiment failed. The experiment didn't fail. The experiment proved that Earth is stationary. They just didn't want to admit it because they were determined to prove to everybody something different. But they couldn't. It's impossible for them to prove it because it's not true. Oh, that was more about Rex. No worries. No worries, TW. So yeah. Sorry, mate. Just clarifying that. But yeah. Thank you very much. I don't know where you went. I don't know what happened there. You just disappeared. But thank you very much, darling. Thank you very much, chat room. And please go and watch Quite Frankly's video. Evil's Next Move, Ponerology Revisited. Link in the chat. Thank you very much for your time. I'll see you all soon.
In this life, what do you think you've learned?
Absolutely nothing. Well, I've tried to learn, but I'll calculate not a lot really. I've learned that you must treat people properly, and that you must proceed in a certain way, and you must try and have a vibe of how to sort of enjoy situations. So I've learned just to, don't get miserable or fight the misery with some intelligence. This is like the most difficult area of the whole malarkey, really, is how to turn something around when it's going. And it's not something that you can learn by well, as far as I can see, it's something that comes to you with a bit of luck and a bit of instinct, yeah? But therefore, it's not something you can ever bank on. I'm not smart enough to figure out what the hell it is or how it works at all, That's why I treat it like voodoo, 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 voodoo. I do find I still have the talent to cause a bit of, stir up a little bit of confusion, yeah? But I'll do what I can to create as much chaos as I possibly can. But my chaos is always well-natured, or has a positive goal at the end. When I start causing chaos in a situation, it's because the situation really needed to be changed, for example, or something is going to happen that I thought would be a good idea. And 9 times out of 10, I'm on it, I must say. Hopefully, that hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed.